Okay, hey, hey guys. So, um, I'm making this little thing here. Well, it's probably gonna be a long video because I'm gonna be talking about my thoughts. Um, but I am currently rewatching all of the seasons of Love is Blind again because I wanted to make my commentary, and I know, like, Love is Blind, the first season has passed and it's been years, but I wanted to, put my 2 cents and, film and say my thoughts on everybody. So yeah. So I'm gonna start off with the first couple that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm gonna talk about Lauren and um what's his name? Hold on, I have all of the cast in front of me so I wouldn't, you know, forget any of their names or anything. So yeah, so Lauren and Cameron, this couple, honestly, the most successful and honestly the best couple out of the whole entire show. But yeah, like the whole entire season, but also the whole entire show. Like I feel like they are among all of the, out of all of the um couples throughout the years and then through the last season, like they are the most, like obviously we don't really see everything, but I feel like also they are the most healthy relationship um out of all of them. And yeah, like I was thinking about, their relationship and like how like that's like what really just like was like, I feel like that's like what honestly kept them going. Like, oh, we have a great success story. We're gonna keep going at this, keep going with the seasons and everything. And yeah, because we're we already have this success. What's another? Like we can get another one. Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, and then also the other um successful couple was Amber and Barnett. And I do and will say that um their relationship is rocky. And at first, because they had that love triangle, and it was kind of crazy, and I will put my 2 cents into that because yeah, it was honestly pretty crazy. And um yeah, I think also, like, also I do like them together. I think they are perfect. I think they're perfect together. I think Amber and Matt Barnett is like, they just go together so well. And yeah, I think both of their personalities match so well. And she's like a tough cookie, and he's like kind of a jokester, um, but also has that soft side of him that's just like, made, like, obviously made Amber feel like, okay, we can have fun, but also we can be serious. And yeah, I think they really had a good mix. And I'm gonna talk about Elsie and Jessica, and who else was in with them? I think that was it, right? Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. But no, I think think that's all of the people that were in the mix. Yeah. So it was just Jessica, Elsie, and Amber, obviously. But yeah. So I'm gonna talk about Elsie first because I feel like, that was just like, I felt like with Elsie and Barnett, I felt like, it was just like you could definitely tell like they were super similar. They were just joking around. And I just don't think that he was ever gonna go for her because of that. So, yeah. Also, I think, but also Elsie being a confident and, um, and being so sure of what she wanted that she didn't or couldn't see that just because they're super similar and just because they have fun, that meant that he was for sure going to choose her. And yeah, that was like, so when he was like, hey, I'm sorry, but this is not going to work, or this is not gonna go any further. Um, you know, he was like, he was at a place where he was sure of, that it was not going to be her. And she kind of took it bad because she was so confident that she was going to be the one. But it didn't end up being that way, obviously. But yeah. And then with Jessica, I obviously, again, I'm just going to reiterate here that obviously we did not see every single conversation. We did not see every single part of their conversations. So, yeah. So with Jessica and Barnett, I just felt like with them, it was just all fun, like all jokes, nothing serious. So, yeah, it just never felt like he was also like it just also felt like he was not really seeing any seriousness with Jessica. And yeah, and Jessica really really liked Barnett, but she also had a connection with Mark. And yeah, and Mark was like was so sure, and he knew what he wanted, and he was just like, I want to be with you, and nothing is going to make me not want to be with you, and he was just like, you know, like, I'm choosing you and I want to be with you. And obviously they had a age gap. Their age gap was Jessica was 34 at the time and Mark was 24 at the time. And yeah, obviously that can raise some questions and like some uncomfortability with that because, obviously sometimes age gaps are not really a problem, but you know, sometimes people can feel uncomfortable with age gaps because it's just like it's weird, you know. Um, for me, I'm, gonna put my 2 cents in here because I'm talking about my thoughts and opinions, but I just also feel like um an age gap that much is like absolutely crazy. Um, so yeah, for me at least, like I would never date someone there's a 10-year age gap. It's just like it's weird from both ends. If I was dating someone younger than me that was 10 years younger than me, that would be weird. if I was dating someone 10 years older than me. That would be weird. So yeah, like they would be like 32 and I would be 22. That's crazy. Like what do you mean? What do you mean? Like I have not lived any life yet, you know? And I think that's also what Jessica was like kind of reserved about because, you know, like he's 24. She was like so worried about, you know, how how is he so sure that he wants to get married and have kids and, you know, have all this life with her if they're not, you know, if they're not on the same playing field with age. And yeah, because like sometimes, um even though sometimes age does not equal maturity, you know, it does make a difference in, especially with romantic relationships, because that is an important factor. But you know, sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes it does matter when it comes to relationships. But yeah, getting back to Jessica and Barnett, it was just like she, you know, and he made a comment that was like, if there was only me and you here, I would propose to you. And honestly, if someone says that to you, like I would take that as an insult. I don't know, because the way that he said it and the way that he phrased it, it was a joke. And obviously, Jessica did not get that joke because obviously she was, you know, feeling Mark, and also feeling Barnett. Um, so, and she was like, I don't know what to do now. So she was like to Mark, hey, I want to explore an option. Um, please don't write me off. Um, but yeah, this is, I would like to explore with this person. And the next time they have a conversation together, he kind of, he also had a conversation with Amber, being like, hey, what are we doing here? Because I'm sure about you. What, excuse me, like, what do you want? And what do you want from this relationship? And like, you know, do you want me? And he was like, yeah, like I'm just gonna cut off the rest of my relationships. So yeah, and that's why he broke it off with Elsie. That's why he broke it off with Jessica, because he was like, this is gonna be my person. And yeah, and I really um yeah, it was like really just like nice to see like him make that decision, because he was in a, I feel like the girls were just like, oh my gosh, you're such a jerk for making a decision, you know, like, you know, all of these, like I totally get that person, like you you're forming a connection with this person, and you know, you're liking these people, and yeah, and sometimes you're falling in love with that person, but you're, the way that they reacted after, like he was just like, hey, this is not gonna work, it's just like Elsie was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, you're such a jerk and blah blah blah, and just like having a very negative reaction. I was like, girl, it was just, like, yes, he had good conversations and and whatever, but it was clear, like I could see it from the TV that he was not going to choose you. He made it every single time like he would talk about him and Elsie's relationship. It was just like I can only see I can only see this as a friendship slash we're too similar. So he was like very unsure because like they're so similar. So yeah, and like he was just like, I don't know if I could date myself basically. So yeah, like it was just like that. And yeah, and also one thing I do have to say about maybe he could have worded things differently. Maybe he could have done things differently. But like he said at the reunion, there's no way that, you know, he chose who he chose, and, he's happy with his decisions. And, like, if, you can't just go back and um do them over because ultimately he's married, and he's happy in that marriage, and that's his choice and to make. So yeah, like it was just like, yeah, so I think on that, like, I think he handled that pretty well. Yeah, he could have said things differently. um he uh yeah, he was just like, and yeah, also I think that um you know Amber and Jessica, I think also like her Amber holding a grudge against Jessica, I think that is like it's valid. I think, but I think also um for some, like I think she like this was like the 2 year after kind of thing. It was just like, it's been 2 years and you're still like, and she was just like, absolutely not, I'm not forgiving her at all, because Jessica did you know constantly say that Barnett is confused, he doesn't know what he wants, and blah blah blah. And that's honestly, that is very very disrespectful to Amber and Barnett's relationship. That is totally um but also it's just like, and she was just not giving Jessica the time of day, and was like, and Barnett was like, I'm not gonna upset my wife by accepting a gift from her. I'm trying to be respectful, but he was like, I'm trying to be respectful, but you know, I'm not trying to make my wife mad. So yeah, like he was just like, I can't talk to you. Like I can't even accept that gift. So I gotta go. And he dipped. And I think he yeah, like I think also, but it's just like a thing of you know mm, of whether, like, there's a certain point where you can just like move on. And I think Jessica has had the time to move on, and to kind of reflect on her past. And I think, yeah, like I think she has changed and has been a different person, completely different person. And I think that shouldn't be written off, because I think, you know, it was just, I think she should have, like, at least given, like, how to talk with her. But I understand that she was just like, I'm not going to ever, ever, you know, I don't ever want to see her face, talk to her, or be in cahoots with her ever again. So I understand her stance with, and I'm talking about Amber. So yeah, I understand that kind of situation. And now I'm going to talk about one of the other couples. Oh, let me talk about Mark and Jessica for a second here. So yeah, honestly, their relationship, I just don't think it was like real. Like, I just think that she was so uncomfortable, and because she didn't like Mark, and but she was just making herself want this, because I truly believe that she wanted to get married and she wanted to fall in love, and she was just holding on to that feeling, even though she was a little bit uncomfortable, uh, maybe about um the age thing, and but also maybe uncomfortable with their relationship, because she literally kept on saying, I'm not really fully comfortable with the relationship yet. And and she was like, I don't know, and being like, and I don't think that was a Barnett thing, although there was, like, I think honestly the half of the reason why she was like, so, like, I don't know about this, is because she still liked Mark. And I mean, she still liked Barnett, sorry, I'm like mixing them up, but yeah, she still liked Barnett. And yeah, and that's why she was like halfway hung up about getting married. But also she was just like, I think she was still hung up on the age thing, and she was just not really comfortable with their relationship. So yeah, I don't know, honestly, we can't really go into her mind at the time and like be like, what were you thinking in this moment? But yeah. And in the reunion, um after wait, no, we find this out, I don't remember, we find this out in that after the altar little thing episode, and he literally had a baby on the way. And yeah, it's honestly crazy. And then you find out that LC was they were talking, but they were exclusive. Well, that's what she thought. But yeah, they were talking, but they were exclusive. And yeah, it turns out she wasn't. And she was like, yeah. And I was fooled because he told me this. And when she found out that he literally got a girl pregnant, it was like, I thought we were exclusive. And yeah, and it was just like, oh, okay. And then Jessica says, yeah, and when we were still dating, even before we were up in the altar, he was actually dating multiple girls. So yeah, consider, like, there's always something a little bit shady about him anyway. Like, he's just like frat boy, kind of like playboy kind of thing. And it's just like, sorry, I'm gonna move this here. But yeah, like he just gives that vibe off anyway. So yeah. The next one, I'm gonna talk about Kenny and Kelly. Wait, yeah. So I'm gonna talk about them. I think I was like, oh, they're a cute couple, and then, excuse me, and then when they proposed and when they went to Mexico, was it? I can't remember. But yeah, they go on their little pre-honeymoon thing, and it was just like, in the honeymoon stage, they're happy, but they're not, I don't know, like, I don't think I can say this on YouTube, but yeah, like they didn't, you know, do it yet. So yeah, because she was like, I don't want this, um I don't want this to become just a hookup, or I don't want this to become like, I want to feel something with, I want to like, she was like, Kelly was like, I want to feel something with you before, we actually do it. So like I can kind of, feel that connection. But she never got there. She just like felt like she didn't have that attraction to him. They have like an emotion connection and everything, but their physical connection was not there for her. And I think when they went in the altar and she said no, he was very upset. Um, I think he was very upset because, I mean, like, you've had conversations with her about this, and like, I feel like they should have had a little bit more. I'm sure they did, but like I felt like if they didn't, I felt like they should have had more conversations about that, so she could feel that physical attraction and, get there with him. So when they did go to, when they did go to the altar, she would have said yes. Um but also, yeah, I think, I felt like Kenny and Kelly's relationship was too perfect. Everything was so perfect. Everything was so perfect that that aspect of the relationship was an important part that they just could not shake. And it just was like, and like, yeah, like I think there definitely should be a physical attraction to your partner, especially if you're gonna get married to them. You need to have that physical attraction with them, because I feel like emotional is just as important as the physical connection with your partner, especially if you're getting married to them and spending the rest of your life with them. You need to have both. um and it just didn't I just it just didn't work out for them. And then let's see, I'm like looking at some of the cast. Oh, we're gonna get to Damien and Giannina. So their relationship, crazy, crazy, crazy. I felt like their relationships when they were still in the pods, like, very normal, very cute. I think both of them had like an amazing attraction to each other and everything. I think both of them definitely had that attraction to each other. You could literally see it on their faces, like, like um Damien definitely thought that Janina was the most beautiful woman in the world, and I think um Giannina thought that Damien was pretty handsome too. Honestly, he's not really um that handsome, but that's just my opinion, honestly. Um so yeah, but I think what really um I think yeah. Okay, this video is not planned at all. I didn't even know what I was gonna say. So yeah, so I'm like actively trying to think of what I'm gonna say next. But yeah, so I think that Damien and Giannina, like, I think that she really showed like who she was and what her character is, and um and all that and whatnot. But I think that Damien kind of forgot that and was like, every single time she would try to express her feelings, she's like a very like loud and expressive person. So when she's like telling like him stuff, it's just like she's yelling, and that just did not go well for him, because I think, especially like when like you are arguing with, like, obviously you don't want to argue with your partners, but when you are like, I feel like your argument patterns, like, I feel like they have to match up. So like when you're arguing or having a disagreement with your partner, I feel like it has to, like, match up. Like, if like one person like does not like when like someone yells at them, maybe maybe that's a sign. Be like, but I felt like both of them really just loved each other so much that they wanted to kind of keep going, especially with Damien. Like, Damien's a crier. um and I feel like he was definitely a he's, I don't want to I don't know, like, I felt like he was just like kind of someone who is not used to having someone who is like is a passionate, like, when they are like passionate about something, they are passionate, they are yelling, they're loud. And I don't think that he was used to it, and I don't think that that would have worked out for him. And yeah, and I think that Giannina definitely deserved more, and I think Amy deserved more. And but yeah, and also I think that Damien was always like trying to humble her in a way. It was just like he was like he just like kind of just pervade himself as like the calm one and the whatever, and she was, she was the loud, um passionate one, just like yelling at their partner all the time. And it was just like, I don't think that that was the case, and then she was like always like angry. No, she just wanted, like, I just think she just wanted some, like, you to listen to her when she like not hear her, but listen to her, actually listen to her, and you know, be there, and just like, like, he was just always making himself small. Like honestly, I don't know why he was always doing that. Like making I felt like he was always like trying to make her look like a villain. I don't know. Like, and not, and like making it seem like she's not taking accountability for herself when it's actually him that's not taking accountability for, his actions. Like, he's just always like blaming whatever. And uh, yeah, especially when it was like the 2 year after the 2 year and the 2 year anniversary, and he brought Francesca over to the 2 year anniversary, and putting Francesca and Giannina in a situation where it was just not good. It was just awkward. And like, why would you even bring her in the first place? Like, that is just like like, honestly, it was just like honestly, like, he was literally cheating in front of her face. And that was so disrespectful. Even if like he says like that was not it, that was not the situation or whatever, it was. Because even if he doesn't think that or doesn't realize that, he was definitely emotionally cheating on her with Francesca. Because, like, what person flirts with someone else if they have a girlfriend? If you know, if you know that you have a girlfriend, and you are, and you had a scandal with that same person, and then you bring her there thinking that was a good idea in the first place. Like, and then bringing Francesca in an awkward situation, meeting all these people. It's just like, what was that? Like, and then you have the audacity to not even introduce her, not be the first person to introduce her, not even talk to her. Like, you did not see Damien talk to Giannina the whole entire time until he introduced Francesca to her. He did not do any of that. He did not make the situation clear. He did not tell her before that he even brought her. Like, that's just so disrespectful to people, both people. And then to blame her for getting mad for the situation that you put her in, and say, like, what was that? Like, come on. Like, you're you're really just like, you're messing with your relationship. She's giving you so many chances and so many opportunities to better yourself. And yeah, and and like have a good relationship, but you are constantly making it hard for both of you to have a good relationship because you constantly keep doing things like that. Like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Anyway, let's talk about what's his name again? Oh my gosh. I think it starts with a C. What is his name? Oh, it's not there. Oh, okay. So now we're gonna talk about Diamond and Carlton. Okay, here we go. So honestly, I thought that like in the pods, I felt like their relationship was deep and I thought their relationship was like very nice until you hear that he has a secret and he's like so scared to tell her, and it's just like, here we go, what is the secret? Because like honestly I forgot what the secret was because it has been a minute since I watched the first season of Love Is Blind, so I forgot. And yeah, just like watching the whole entire first season again, it just brought back so many memories and so many emotions from this show and season, because it was just like, because sometimes you just get fed up with some of the people that were on the show because they constantly keep making bad decisions, and it's just like, what the heck are you doing? So yeah, and he says that he's fluid, um and he's scared to tell Diamond, um but he proceeds not to tell her, but proposes to her and says that you really know me and you really care for me and whatever, making all this stuff and telling her all this stuff, and yeah, basically just proposes to her and all this stuff. They get to Mexico and they're having a good old time, but sorry, I gotta burp. Sorry. Anyway, Diamond notices that there's something up with Carlton. She can just notice, and he's like, that's what I really. He was just like, this is what I really, really love about Diamond, is that she can tell when something's going on. She can tell when something's up. But yeah, so they go to the pool, and he finally decides to tell her the secret, and it does not go well, basically. And she's just like give me a minute to kind of take this in. You just sprung this on me, like, I don't know, like. And one of the things that I'm just like, it's just like, yeah, he was like worried about that, but like, it's just like, that's exactly why he should have told her that before he even proposed to her. Like, what? Like if you really trusted her and you really loved her, you would have told her that before. Like, and then when she like asks questions and whatever, and it's just like he's getting defensive and mean, and she's just like, whatever, I'm leaving because you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way. And she left, and he left, and and I think like he just got so defensive and so caught up in his own stuff, and his own, I think he just got caught up in his own shame and his own whatever he's dealing with. And yeah, and then also like she was not being like, she was not being homophobic, she was not being any kind of way, she was just asking questions and he got defensive. And yeah, like, and she even asked him, like, why didn't you tell me this before? Like, this is important. Like, if you really wanted me, like, this isn't something important about you that, I should know, and you didn't even tell me. You didn't even give me a chance to accept you for who you are, because you did that. And she was questioning him, like, well, what else have you not told me? Because or yeah. And like because like you didn't tell me this important of a fact about yourself, that you just decided that, oh, like, if I tell her that she's not going to accept you, she's not going to marry me. Well, you didn't even give me a chance to accept that part of you, because you didn't even tell me. You did not give me a chance. So yeah, like, I would have done the same thing. Like, I would have been like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me this before? Do you even trust me? Like, do you even trust me? Do you even know me? Do you even love me? Because, like, that's something important. Like, if you like, this is the thing. I don't remember, like, I guess it was like 2 weeks before they were getting married at that point. So it's just like, this is something important that should have already been, this should have already been said, should have already been talked about. Because if you're gonna get up to the altar and get married, this is something that Diamond should have known already. You know? I I don't know. It's just like, I, yeah, it should have already been a known fact. Um, but yeah, I think I've talked about everyone. So I've talked about Cameron and Lauren. I've talked about Amber and Barnett. I've talked about Kenny and Kelly. I've talked about Diamond and Carlton. So I think that is all, everybody. And I've kind of talked about Jessica and Mark as well in the mix. So I think we've got everybody. And of course Damien and Giannina. So yeah. So yeah. Um but yeah, all I can say is, like, of recent news, Lauren and Cameron have their baby together. It's a little boy. And Giannina has a new partner. She just got married, and she also has a baby with her husband. And I don't know about Diamond or Carlton. But obviously Amber and Barnett are still married. And um Kenny, it looks like he is married and he has a baby, because in the cast pictures it shows that they're literally in a delivery room and there's a baby there. So he has a baby. Um so yeah. So yeah. And Mark, he obviously, I just said he has a child. I don't know if he has a relationship or anything. Let me see. Uh, I don't know. I think he is married, but I don't know. I don't know who's he married to though. And then I think that's it. I don't know if Kelly is married or anything. Let's see. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's all. That's all my thoughts and opinions. But I'll be back for a season 2 thoughts and opinions thing because I'm on to season 2. So yeah. Hey, bye.